Oh, no, I'm more than willing and ready to vote yes for an impeachment inquiry. This is exactly where the House should take these matters. We've done extensive work through the Oversight Committee with the help of our colleagues in Judiciary and in Ways and Means, Chairman Jordan and Chairman Smith. So we've done that work. Now is the time to pull it all together. And I'm serious about this, Maria. I think if there is one real charge, it's actually a RICO charge against Joe Biden, because you cannot have a situation where the son is making money, the brother's making money, the family's getting checks delivered to them all over the place. Wire transfers are going here and there. There's no business model. Hunter Biden's not a registered foreign agent. He's violated FARA the same way they dragged Paul Manafort through the mud and threw Paul Manafort in jail because they tried to get Paul Manafort to flip on Donald Trump. That's what's been going on with the Biden family, and the Department of Justice has been covering up for this. The FBI did not do full investigations over this, and so it is incumbent for House Republicans to step up and get the job done for the American people.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about the possible impeachment of Joe Biden and his crimes related to selling influence overseas with his son, Hunter Biden. The GOP, led by Kevin McCarthy, pressured by Trump, has decided that come September, they could start the vote to initiate an impeachment inquiry against Joe Biden. And I want to go ahead and play a clip of Kevin McCarthy discussing the possibility or the timeline in which we will see an impeachment inquiry launched against Joe Biden, because now they're getting a whole lot of pressure to go ahead and to do something, okay? We've heard enough about the allegations against the Biden crime family. Now we want to see some action.
Will you bring an impeachment inquiry against President Biden this September?
Well, Maria, first you've got to understand, only because Republicans took the majority have we found out what President Biden told us when he was running for office is not true. He said he never had any dealings with his son's business, and that he never even talked to him. We've now found out not only did he call into the meetings, he went to dinner, and after the dinner, Hunter Biden got a new Porsche, that there was $3.5 million transferred. We now found out as he was a sitting vice president, the family created 20 shell companies. They received 16 of 17 payments from Romania while he was vice president. We now found that the money would flow to 9 family members. He has to continue to change this. But since then, we found a movement of his administration of weaponization. We found that now the special prosecutor, David Weiss, actually let the statute of limitations run out on Hunter Biden's taxes. We found that the FBI actually informed Hunter Biden and the inaugural committee prior to our ability to go and interview him. We also have a DOJ that tried to give a sweetheart deal to Hunter Biden, and the judge said no. So if you look at all the information we've been able to gather so far, it is a natural step forward that you would have to go to an impeachment inquiry. And just so your viewers understand what that means, that provides Congress the apex of legal power to get all the information they need. Because remember what's laying out there right now. We have an attorney general that could have lied to the American public, which he has now named a special prosecutor. They have said 2 different things, and you have Gary Shapley on a little later today. IRS whistleblowers that have come forward that show that there's 2 forms of justice when it comes to America. But now when you look at this, it looks like a culture of corruption that's been happening within the entire Biden family. You've got to get to be able to answer that to the American public. The American public deserves that answer. Who's lying? What information went on? Who paid? And what foreign governments, when you found now that we know that an FBI actually had an informant, which got to a form of a 1023, claiming that they had bribed then vice president and saying that we would never find the money because they went through shell companies and withheld that from the IRS individuals investigating Hunter Biden.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Now, Kevin McCarthy laid out the case, but there's a problem politically. Okay, the problem is that apparently moderate Republicans that are from districts that Biden won are afraid of being exposed if they go through with this impeachment inquiry against Joe Biden without enough evidence to have a solid case against Joe Biden. And that is what's really holding up this process, okay? Because if the moderate Republicans decide to vote against it, then the GOP's whole case falls apart, okay? It's an absolute embarrassment. The mainstream liberal media will point at the GOP and Republicans and say, ha ha, see, we told you it was a conspiracy. He can't even get his own team on board with impeaching Joe Biden. Now, we know that you really don't need evidence to actually move forward with impeachment. I mean, look what the Democrats did with Trump's first impeachment. There were Democrats, moderate Democrats, from districts that Trump won that were skeptical. Okay, they were skeptical. It's like, I don't think we should do this. But they got on board anyways because party over country, right? That's kind of how the Democrats operate. However, Republicans, on the other hand, because Republicans have to take the high road, again, what's holding Kevin McCarthy back here is these moderate Republicans who don't want to get politically exposed for going along with this impeachment, which could ultimately prove to be unpopular if the Republicans don't present a solid case against the Biden crime family. However, you do have Trump in Kevin McCarthy's ear, essentially telling him that, look, you need to move forward with it, right? You need to move forward with it. It's not like the Democrats needed actual evidence to impeach me. This is where we're at in this country. You have enough evidence already. Go ahead and impeach, right? Just do it. Just go ahead and get the process started. Okay, this is what Trump is saying. And, you know, he has a point because he's going to be put on trial and they're basically using Trump's trials and his legal troubles in order to try to sway the outcome of the election. And the Republicans need a counterbalance, regardless of whether or not the Republican nominee is Trump or somebody else. They need a counterbalance, right? They need something else to basically take the attention away from the Trump trials. And I definitely think that this impeachment, as far as the evidence that we have thus far, I think is legitimate because maybe, just maybe, we won't be able to get the bank statements without the impeachment inquiry, right? We won't be able to get the direct evidence that shows that, hey, Joe Biden received money in his bank account. Like Joe Biden got paid for what Hunter Biden was doing, which is ultimately what the GOP is looking for. And it may be that they know that this information is out there. They just need to expand their powers in order to actually get access to that information. Okay, so again, it's a very interesting situation politically. However, what I want to talk about is the mainstream liberal media response to this, particularly somebody like Joy Reid. And the reason why I want to talk about it is because Joy Reid's discussion of Biden's impeachment really does show you guys why most of this country is ignorant, because we do not have any real journalists in the mainstream liberal media that are willing to at least inform the American people on the truth and let them know about what's actually going on in Congress. And this is going to be put on display by Joy Reid, because what she's going to do here is that she's going to discuss Kevin McCarthy impeaching Biden, but she's going to go out of her way to not explain to her audience why the Republicans are considering impeaching Joe Biden. Take a look.
Kevin McCarthy is saying he's getting all his ducks in a row for impeachment. It's ridiculous. They're going to impeach Biden for being old. I mean, I really don't know what
for existing
and being named Biden. But it seems like he has to do these things. He has to let them go through these exercises of, we're going to defund, Jack Smith's office, and we're going to pretend like we can defund state prosecutors. He has to let them go through the exercise in order to stay in power, right? Is that the way to read him?
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, after the marathon round that was Kevin McCarthy limping into the speaker's office.
15 votes.
And like you called it, I think, de facto speaker, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah.
It's like, these are the people who are actually running the show. McCarthy's just there as a figurehead. He is someone who wields no power, no influence. He is being held hostage by the crazy MAGA right extremists that are now part of the insurrectionist LLC, that is the Judiciary Committee, that masquerades around and tries to use the guise of congressional power to justify their political witch hunts. And McCarthy is going to sit there and rubber stamp it, because if the minute that he doesn't do what they want and this stuff,
yeah, and that, my friends, is why liberals are ignorant, okay? Because Joy Reid, as a journalist, didn't even go out of her way to explain, hey, this is the honest reason why they are trying to impeach Joe Biden, right? These are the allegations, okay? No, she didn't even do that. She went out of her way to make sure her audience is ignorant and that they know nothing about it by saying that, well, Republicans are impeaching Biden for being old and existing, which, again, is just a complete failure of journalism on her part, okay, in which, you would think that at the very least she would say that, hey, these are the allegations. This is what, Hunter Biden was doing in Ukraine and Joe Biden's involvement, and this is what the GOP is alleging. But she doesn't even do that. I'm pretty sure she's never talked about that, right? I'm pretty sure she's actually never sat down and talked about the allegations that against Joe and Hunter Biden and why we're even talking about impeachment in the first place. And again, it just shows you guys just how much of a joke she is. Because no matter how biased you are, okay, as an opinion host, which that's what she is, she's not a real journalist, you would think at the very least you would honestly explain to your audience, this is what this person is being accused of. When I come up here and I talk about Trump's indictment, I always tell you guys, well, this is what the indictments are about, right? I don't say, well, they're indicting him because, he's old or whatever. I mean, they are indicting him because they're going after political opponents. I think it's BS. But regardless of whether or not I think it's BS, I always explain what the rationale is, okay, from the prosecutors. Joy Reid doesn't even go that far. She doesn't even want to explain at all. She doesn't want her audience to know anything at all about the allegations against Joe. And this is why I tell you guys the impeachment thing is such a big deal and why the key really here is to get it to a Senate trial where it will be televised and people will be able to actually really see the arguments against the Biden crime family and they can be exposed on a national stage because there's no way the mainstream liberal media won't cover it. They'll have to cover it, right? I mean, you're talking about potentially getting rid of a sitting president. So they'll definitely cover it. And it needs to line up in the summer before the election, right? It needs to be during a time in which GOP, and I hope they do, I hope that they can actually present a convincing case to the American people and essentially create an equivalency between Biden and Trump. I mean, that's the political goal here. I think the Biden administration obviously and clearly committed crimes. I think that Biden was bribed. I think he was selling influence overseas. I do believe that, okay? Personally, I think there's actually crime, but the political aspect of it, again, the goal here is to just educate the American people. Because, again, there's a lot of people in this country that don't know anything about this. We saw that the data showed that if the mainstream liberal media did not cover up the Hunter Biden laptop story, that Trump would still be president. And we cannot let that type of covering up of information happen again in 2024. Because I do believe that the American people knew about the allegations against the Biden crime family, that I think a lot of people would create that equivalency to Trump, and that would basically be a wash at that point going into the general election. Well, they both, committed crimes, right? I mean, that's kind of the way you want to put it, right? That's kind of what the goal is. But again, it's fascinating to me how this person can call themselves a journalist, but won't even explain to her audience what the allegations are against Biden. I mean, she can come out here and say, hey, I don't believe him, or they don't have enough evidence. That's what CNN does, right? But MSNBC is so radical and extreme and so far left, they won't even discuss the allegations, right? They won't even tell their audience, this is what the GOP is accusing Biden of. It's pretty fascinating stuff to see. It really is. She really is. She's living in her own bubble, right? Joy Reid is honestly disgraceful. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.